is saying absolutely no to. That is irresponsible leadership coming from the Conservative Party, whether it's immigration or even the issue of the RCMP.
Unfortunately, it is now 2 p.m. and it's time for statements by members.
Statements by members. The honourable member for Yukon.
Mr. Speaker, it's with deep pride in the North that I'd like to congratulate L'Aurore Boreale, named Newspaper of the Year at the 2025 Francophone Press Awards last December. This is an exceptional honor that reflects the heart and soul that the team puts into each edition. L'Aurore Boreale was also recognized for its magnificent bilingual digital project, 125 Years of Francophonie in the Yukon, produced in cooperation with the Société d'Histoire Francophone du Yukon. This project is a vibrant tribute to the rich and resilient history of Francophones in the territory. In addition, for the third consecutive year, the newspaper was awarded the Award of Excellence for its digital presence. Mr. Speaker, may L'Aurore Boreale continue to inspire, inform, and bring people together for many years.
The honourable member for Columbia-Kootenay Southern Rockies.
Mr. Speaker, in Columbia-Kootenay Southern Rockies, forestry isn't just an industry, it's a way of life. From small family-run mills like Hushcroft, Kolesnikov, Atco, Porcupine, Martis, in the Kootenays to the dedicated men and women working across the Southern Rockies, the forest sector is a backbone of our local economy. Yet, once again, these hardworking Canadians are being left behind. The Liberal government has failed to secure a new softwood lumber agreement with the United States, leaving our producers facing uncertainty and unfair trade barriers. Despite these challenges, our small mills continue to push forward, investing, modernizing, and finding innovative ways to stay competitive. But they're doing it without the support of the Liberal government that should be standing up for them. They're not asking for handouts. They're asking for fairness, stability, for leadership that will fight for their livelihoods. Conservatives will always stand by our forest families and the communities that depend on this vital sector. Thank you.
The honourable member for Spadina Harbourfront.
Mr. Speaker, this past Saturday we celebrated the 96th anniversary of the Persons case, when the famous five fought to have women recognized as persons in Canada. Their courage reshaped democracy in this country. Across Canada, women are transforming government, business, and public life. We're delivering on the National $10 a Day Child Care Program, a national action plan to end gender-based violence, a permanent national school food program, and soon, free contraception for more choice and control. All of these initiatives have a profoundly positive impact on all Canadians, especially on mothers, sisters, and daughters. But progress is not equality. In 2023, women's workforce participation lagged 6.6 points behind men's, a gap that, if closed, could add $150 billion to our economy. Gender-based violence still costs Canadians $7.4 billion every year. Mr. Speaker, nearly a century later, the fight for equality is far from over. It's our turn to finish what the famous five so bravely began. Thank you.
The honourable member for Medicine Hat, Cardston Warner.
Mr. Speaker, the world desperately needs more people who don't fold under pressure, but who are guided by grace and use their influence not for personal gain, but for justice. Those who are willing to stand in the gap for others, to boldly speak the truth, to protect the vulnerable, to fight against injustice, and to take risks to do what is right. I believe that's the kind of people we are all called to be. People who are willing to step up and speak out, even when it's uncomfortable or perhaps even risky. Too often we shrink back from those moments. We choose silence. We fear conflict. We act impulsively or we accuse. But there is a better way. We can choose our moments carefully, deliver our words with wisdom and clarity, act with courage, and always be respectful. Courageous people don't wait for safer circumstances. They step forward in faith and trust God with the outcome. Remember, your influence matters. Your voice can be used to bring justice, freedom, hope, and life, but only if you're willing to use it. Thank you.
Good job. The honourable member for La Prairie Atataken. Mr. Speaker, this month, as we celebrate women who inspire, innovate, and transform the world around them, I'd like to share an encounter that left a deep impression on me. I had the pleasure of speaking with Cindy Ouellette, a woman whose journey commands admiration. Cindy is a high-level Paralympic athlete in wheelchair basketball, a demanding discipline in which she has excelled for years. She has represented Canada at 4 Summer Games and even at the Winter Games in Paranordic skiing. She trains up to 6 hours a day while pursuing 2 doctorates, one in biomedical engineering and the other in neuroscience. But what touched me was her ability to turn challenges into opportunities. She doesn't just push her own limits, she works to improve the lives of others, including by developing new prosthetics. She turns challenges into opportunities. She is living proof that women can excel in all fields. They can be athletes, scientists, leaders, and models of resilience.
The Honourable Member for Brampton West.
Mr. Speaker, today I rise in the chamber to join families of Brampton West, millions of Canadians and billions around the world in celebrating Diwali, the Festival of Lights, and Bandi Chhod Divas. Though the tradition may differ with different cultures, their message is universal: hope, unity, and renewal. In a time when many are struggling and the world feels heavy with pain, these celebrations remind us to look forward with optimism. I am proud to join our Conservative leader and colleagues in celebrating Diwali here on Parliament Hill and across our beautiful country. Conservatives will always stand up for the values that unite us: faith, family, and freedom. To everyone celebrating Diwali and Bandi Chhod Divas in Brampton West and across Canada, may this Diwali bring joy, peace, and prosperity to all. Happy Diwali and Bandi Chhod Divas. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Eglinton Lawrence.
Mr. Speaker, this week, members of the Intentional Community Consortium are in Ottawa for their annual Day on the Hill. Representing more than 60 agencies across Canada, the consortium advocates for affordable and supportive housing solutions for individuals with developmental disabilities across Canada. Earlier this summer, I had the opportunity to visit one of their member projects, the Frankfurt Family Arena residence, located in my riding of Eglinton Lawrence with Chair Gary Gladstone. This project will provide homes for an estimated 168 individuals and will include specialized units for complex health care, along with options for independent and shared living. At a time when we need to build not only more housing, but also a greater diversity of housing, I would like to thank the Intentional Community Consortium for the important work they do to build stronger communities where everyone can live with dignity and care. I hope members will join myself and honourable colleagues from the Conservatives and the Bloc Québécois at a reception this evening from 5 to 7 in the Speaker's Lounge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Central Newfoundland.
Congratulations, Premier-elect Tony Wakeham and the PC Party of Newfoundland and Labrador on their victory in last week's provincial election. A special thanks to all who put their names forward, regardless of political stripe. This willingness to be involved strengthens our democracy. So after 10 costly years of Liberal government, one that too often collaborated with their federal friends and ignored our fishery, stifled opportunity in our offshore oil and gas, and ignored the rising crime, the people of Newfoundland and Labrador have chosen a new direction. Yeah. Tony Wakeham ran a positive, solutions-based campaign that put working people, rural communities, resource development, and healthcare back at the centre of the province's future. This victory is a clear message that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are ready for leadership that listens, acts, and delivers results. I look forward to working with the incoming PC government for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
L'honorable député de...
The Honourable Member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, from October 20th to 26th, we celebrate National Early Childhood Educators Week, and I'm sure everyone here knows someone to honour today. I know my colleague, the member for Mirabel, has a special thought for his mother-in-law, who is an educator herself. And for my part, I'm thinking of the kindness and warm smile of Mrs. Awa, to whom I entrusted my little boy this morning. Early childhood professionals are the first real school for our little ones. They're much more than babysitters. They stimulate, listen, reassure, and encourage. Day after day, our children are in good hands with them, but their role is even greater. Thanks to their commitment, kindness, and creativity, they are shaping and helping to nurture an entire future society. They are builders of the future. On behalf of the Bloc Québécois, and above all, on behalf of all the little ones for whom they make all the difference in the world, I offer them my warmest thanks.
The Honourable Member for South Shore St. Margaret's.
Mr. Speaker, during Women's History Month, I rise today to recognize an extraordinary female athlete from my riding of South Shore St. Margaret's, Sarah Mitten of Liverpool, Queens County, Nova Scotia. Sarah is a history maker, one throw at a time. Born and raised in Liverpool, she's become one of Canada's greatest track and field athletes. A national champion in her junior years, Sarah burst onto the scene internationally by capturing gold at the 2019 Summer Olympiad and the University Games. In 2022, Sarah made our country proud once again by winning gold at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham and setting multiple Canadian records in shot put. She also became the first woman ever to reach world champion finals in her event, a remarkable milestone. She went on to represent Canada in both Tokyo and Paris Olympic Games, proudly wearing that maple leaf on the world's biggest stage. And while she competes among
The Honourable Member for Caribou, Prince George.
Since 2015, 11 mills have closed in my region. That's over 2,700 jobs lost. 2,700 families that can't feed their kids, can't pay their mortgage, can't pay their hydro bill. Vanderhoof, 500 jobs. Prince George, 1,000 jobs. Williams Lake, 170 jobs. Quesnel, 150 jobs. Hunter Mile House, 160 jobs. Mr. Speaker, British Columbia used to be the largest producer of softwood in our nation, but since 2015, over 30 mills have closed and thousands of British Columbians are out of work. Communities destroyed, families unable to put food on the table. This Prime Minister promised a deal with the U.S. Instead, tariffs on Canadian softwood have tripled. Conservatives are calling on the Prime Minister to do what he promised, get a deal on softwood and protect our hardworking loggers, truckers, and mill workers. Mr. Speaker, forestry families matter.
Here, here. L'honorable député d'Alfred.
The Honourable Member for Alfred Pellant. Mr. Speaker, last week was Italian Language Week in the world. Canada and Italy share deep ties, shaped by a common history and decades of cultural, economic, and political cooperation. As the son of Italian immigrants, I'm proud of the wealth of this relationship, which has shaped my journey and that of millions of Canadians of Italian origin who have made significant contributions to our country. On behalf of the Canada-Italy Interparliamentary Group, I invite all my colleagues to join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. for a reception on the theme of Italian language, Language Beyond Borders.
Speaker's dining room in the presence of His Excellency Alessandro Cattaneo, Ambassador of Italy to Canada. It will be an opportunity to reaffirm the deep and lasting friendship between our two countries, and yes, there will be Italian food.
The Honourable Member for Windsor West.
Mr. Speaker, for generations, families in Windsor have been beating hard of Canada's auto industry, building not just cars, but hope, stability, and opportunity for countless Canadians. That hope is being tested today. While auto workers are wondering what the future holds, this Liberal government is refusing to release the Stellantis contracts, the very documents that could show whether the promises made to our community are being kept. Canadians deserve accountability, responsibility, and transparency. They deserve to know if their tax dollars are protecting Canadian jobs or simply adding to corporate welfare with no accountability. Mr. Speaker, Windsor has carried Canada's industrial future on its shoulders for over 100 years. Our people have done their part. They built the engines, the factories, and the future. Now it's time for this government to show some integrity and do its part. It must release the contracts today.
The honourable member for Mont-Saint-Bruno-L'Acadie. Mr. Speaker, today I'd like to highlight the beginning of Diwali, the Festival of Lights, celebrated by millions of people all around the world, including right here in Canada. Diwali is a time of rejoicing, spirituality, and renewal. It symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. It's also a time to gather with family, share meals, light lamps, and renew community ties. I'd like to wish a happy Diwali to all those who celebrate it in my riding of Mont-Saint-Bruno-L'Acadie and all across the country. May this holiday bring you peace, prosperity, and light. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for York Durham.
The Prime Minister is fond of giving Canadians so-called economic lessons, as though he alone commands the keys to wisdom. Well, let me share with him a lesson from the unforgiving school of real life and reality. When governments run huge deficits, they unleash the scourge of inflation. And when inflation rises, it strikes at the heart of our communities. The Georgina Food Pantry now feeds twice as many families because they can no longer afford to feed themselves. But we have 4 simple things the government can do to reform themselves and reverse course in this upcoming budget. Eliminate the industrial carbon tax on farm and fertilizer, get rid of the fuel tax on the trucks that deliver our food, and scrap the industrial carbon tax, scrap the food packaging tax, and stop printing money. The Prime Minister is fond of giving lectures, Mr. Speaker, but unfortunately he remains stubbornly unteachable.
The honourable member for Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to welcome a new local newsroom serving Coquitlam, Port Moody, New Westminster, and Burnaby. It's called The Freshet, and their first edition went online on Sunday. Local news is not a luxury. It's how neighbours learn what councils decide. It's what local sports team won the game and which small businesses recently opened. The launch follows a community effort to save the local news after local newspapers closed. 4 veteran reporters stepped forward with a plan to build trusted coverage. I thank Janice Clue, Cornelia Naylor, Mario Bartel, and Teresa McManus for their leadership and service. The Freshet will value verification, reflect our diversity, and ask tough questions to make public policy better. I welcome that scrutiny and will keep an open line. Congratulations to the Freshet.
Oral questions, questions orales, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
In 10 budgets, the Liberals doubled debt, doubled lines at food banks, and doubled the cost of housing. Every dollar that the government spends comes out of Canadians' pockets. And fridges are empty, Mr. Speaker. Has the government learned the costly lessons that its deficits and taxes increase the cost of living? And will they reverse these inflationist policies in their budget? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, we'll be talking about those issues quite a bit in the coming weeks, but last week the Leader of the Opposition questioned the independence of our legal system, of the police, and the integrity of police officers, the police officers who put their lives on the line to protect us. Today he has the opportunity to make amends in an honourable way before this House. In the next 30 seconds, the Leader of the Opposition has the opportunity to make amends. Will he do that?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are trying to distract Canadians from their inflation with their corruption, Mr. Speaker. They now have 4 inflationist taxes on food. The industrial carbon tax, which applies to equipment on farms. The packaging tax at grocery stores. The diesel standards tax, and their inflationist taxes. Canadians can no longer pay their bills. They can't afford their groceries. Will the Liberals reverse these inflationist policies so Canadians can eat? The Honourable Government House Leader.
A lot of opportunity to talk about the taxes, the imaginary taxes that the Leader of the Opposition comes up with. But last week, the Leader of the Opposition put into question the independence of our judiciary, of the independence of our prosecutors, of the police, in fact, the very police that put their lives on the line to protect him, Mr. Speaker. The Leader has the next 30 seconds to make amends, to apologize, to tell the people of this chamber and this House that he is sorry for what he said. We don't do that in Canada, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, then don't fire Jody Wilson-Raybould. Don't interfere.
Liberals are trying to distract from their inflation and rising cost of living by talking about their corruption. This will be the 10th Liberal budget. Already, they've doubled the debt, food bank lineups, and housing costs. Every dollar the government spends comes directly out of the pockets of Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, and house themselves. Their fridges are empty, Mr. Speaker. Will they learn these costly lessons? Will they cap their inflationary deficits and get rid of their insane taxes on groceries?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is inventing scenarios to distract from the story. The Leader of the Opposition has had 2 opportunities to apologize to the RCMP, our judges, and our legal system. He has refused to do that. In terms of inflationist spending, so-called inflationist spending from the opposition leader, well, he still hasn't suggested one single way to cut or identified what spending, what support for which Canadians he thinks is inflationary, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, tragically, 3,000 auto workers in Brampton learned that the Prime Minister had sold them out and failed them in negotiations with the United States of America. To make matters worse, this Liberal government and this Liberal finance minister forked over $15 billion, tax dollars, to the company that is moving their jobs south. So surely the government would have negotiated a jobs guarantee for every single Canadian Stellantis employee. Will they release that guarantee and the entire contract so Canadians know where their dollars went?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Here we go, Jolie.
Mr. Speaker, of course, what Stellantis announced for the Brampton plant last week was completely unacceptable. And Stellantis has made solemn commitments to this government and to their workers, and they need to honor their commitments. And that's why we will hold them to account. While my colleagues are just right now talking, we already know that in committee we said that we would agree to the production of documents. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, surely Stellantis would not be announcing that it is moving a 3,000 worker plant to the United States of America if this government had negotiated job guarantees in that contract for $15 billion. To put this into perspective, $15 billion is $1,000 for every single family in Canada that was supposed to create jobs. So, simple yes or no question. Is there an ironclad guarantee of every single worker's job here in Canada in exchange for that $15 billion handout?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, let me be extremely clear. We will fight for these jobs because Canadian auto workers are the best auto workers in the world. And we will make sure that Stellantis face all consequences, including legal ones. That being said, an hour ago, I met here in Ottawa with the head of Canadian Stellantis, with the head of Unifor, and also with the Minister of Economic Development of Ontario. We're one strong team, Canada, and we will make sure that these jobs stay in Brampton.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, still no answer. It was the finance minister, the present-day finance minister, who is in charge of a $500 billion forthcoming Liberal budget that was the one who signed this deal. And amazingly, barely 2 years after he signed it, and forked over 15 billion Canadian tax dollars. The company receiving it is moving the jobs to the United States of America. That minister claims she might take legal action. She can't do that unless there's actually a job guarantee. So will she tell us, yes or no, does every Canadian Stellantis worker have a job guarantee?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, when this government negotiates contracts, they're good ones. And so my colleague will have the chance to see these contracts. That being said, we will make sure to put full pressure on the company. These jobs need to stay in Brampton. These jobs need to stay in Canada. And ultimately, the future of the auto sector is bright, and we'll continue to fight for it.
Bravo. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the preacher Uthman Ibn Farouk is giving speaking conferences across Canada despite his history of hate speech. For example, he believes it's acceptable to capture women and turn them into sex slaves. This type of rhetoric has earned him a ban from the United Kingdom and even from Canada, but he'll have no problem repeating these remarks in his video conferences because they're protected by the Criminal Code. In fact, the Criminal Code exempts hate speech from consequences if it's made in a religious context. Will the government finally abolish this religious exemption? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture. I'd like to thank my colleague for her question. As she knows very well, hate speech has no place in Canada. The federal government has a number of tools to fight hate speech, and we will do everything that we can to work to ensure that Canadians are free from this kind of speech. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, UQAM quickly banned a conference by the preacher on its premises, and we must applaud that decision. But fans of hate speech, misogyny, homophobia, and more will still be able to attend 7 of his conferences across Canada and even in Quebec in Brossard. This rhetoric has no place in Quebec or in Canada, yet the federal government protects it under the Criminal Code. When will the Liberals finally have the political courage to abolish the religious exemption that allows hate speech? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As my colleague has noted, there is a conference that was cancelled because it was hate speech. We have a number of tools, and we've tabled a bill in the previous Parliament to fight online hate speech. I will work on this issue as Minister of Heritage, and we will continue to work to fight hate speech in all its forms across the country. The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Mr. Speaker, the federal government is speaking out of both sides of its mouth when it comes to hate speech. Canada has banned Uthman Ibn Farouk because of his hateful comments. It's true, he's too dangerous to be allowed into the country. We agree. But these same hateful comments are protected under 319 of the Criminal Code. It's allowed in Canada to engage in hate speech if it's done under the guise of religion. Mr. Speaker, if the preacher's speeches are hateful enough for Canada to ban him from entering the country, does the government not agree that they're hateful enough to be prohibited under the Criminal Code? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, beyond the bill that we tabled in the previous Parliament on hate speech online, in Bill C9, which is before the House right now, Mr. Speaker, which is going to be debated in the coming weeks, there is an element that is specifically focused on hate speech. The federal government is very proactive on this question, and we will continue to be.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
The Prime Minister's broken promises are costing Canadians. The Prime Minister said he would lower grocery costs for Canadians, but in fact, food prices are rising twice as quickly now as they did under Trudeau. And it's because of the Liberal hidden taxes on food. And it's not imaginary. The Liberal government's own analysis said their food packaging tax increased costs on Canadians by $1 billion. Wow. A Deloitte study said it would increase fresh produce costs 34%. Will the Prime Minister scrap his hidden taxes on food, or will he break another promise to Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Well, good news for Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Last week, the Prime Minister announced that we're making the school food program permanent. So I take from the question of the member opposite. That means, Mr. Speaker, that Canadian kids all across the country are getting good quality food at school, saving families about $800 a year at the grocery store. But I hope from the nature of that question, Mr. Speaker, we can count on the party opposite to support this budget.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
But it was the Liberals who voted against scrapping their hidden taxes on food. And now we have 1 in 4 Canadians not knowing where their next meal is coming from. Bans on plastic food packaging, front-of-pack labeling, those will increase the cost of fresh produce 34%. The Liberals were warned these policies would increase costs on consumers, and those warnings were heeded. There is 4 million Canadians going to be forced to use a food bank this year, up 345% from 2015. Will the Prime Minister scrap his hidden taxes on food so Canadians can afford to feed their families?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, most Canadians know or ought to know that there isn't tax on food, and in fact, these are imaginary taxes. You know what's not imaginary, Mr. Speaker? The $8,000 in the Canadian family's bank account for a child under 6 that will be deposited today. Something that those Conservatives have voted against time and time again. When they have an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to make life more affordable for Canadians, they vote against the interests of Canadian families time after time.
Honourable Member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister told Canadians to judge them by the prices they pay at the grocery store. So let's do just that. Sherry, a senior in Cambridge, wrote to me this week. She sent a photo of her grocery receipt, $197 for a few basics that won't last the week. The cause, hidden Liberal taxes like the industrial carbon tax on farmers who grow the food. These taxes are buried in everyday essentials. Runaway Liberal spending has turned the grocery aisle into a luxury lane. With the budget coming, Canadians like Sherry want to know, will the government axe the hidden taxes and rein in the spending so they can afford to eat?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every time there's a chance to stand up for Canadian families, these Conservatives vote against their interests. Whether it's increases to seniors' benefits, Mr. Speaker, voted against it. Whether it's ensuring that food costs remain low for Canadians, voted against it. Mr. Speaker, Canadians expect governments to work on their behalf, and they know they can't trust these Conservatives.
The Honourable Member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, same old answers. Let's talk about those so-called programs. 9 out of 10 kids do not get fed by this failed food program. The Liberals take food away from families to instead feed the government's constantly expanding bureaucracy. If those programs were working, then food bank visits would be going down, not up. Since this Prime Minister took office, beef strip loin is up 28%. Sugar is up 19%. Apples are up 13%. These aren't luxuries. They're everyday essentials being priced out of Canadian diets, forcing kids to go to bed hungry. So I'll ask again, will the government finally listen to the evidence and stop their reckless spending so families...
The Honourable Minister.
You know what, Mr. Speaker, when you visit food banks, one of the things they ask is to make the school food program permanent. And we listen, Mr. Speaker. That's what responsible governments do. We work with partners to make sure that we have programs across the country that reach hungry bellies. And that's what we're doing, saving Canadian families on average $800 a year. But these Conservatives vote against families time and time again. Mr. Speaker, they literally take food out of kids' mouths.
The Honourable Member for Kitchener Centre.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are feeling the financial squeeze not just at the pumps but across the board. While the Liberals claim that these are imaginary taxes, the truth is they're hidden fuel taxes on buried regulatory fees and carbon pricing, quietly driving up the cost of groceries and transportation. These aren't just line items. They're daily realities for working families in Kitchener Centre. Will they axe their 17-cent fuel tax on their upcoming budget so Canadians can finally afford to live?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
While the Conservatives continue to suggest these imaginary taxes exist on food, we are ensuring that there is real food for real bellies. Children in schools get fed. They vote against feeding children, while over here we're ensuring that children have the food that they need, that Canadians have the support that they need, while they continue to suggest imaginary taxes and work against Canadians' interests.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins-Lévis. The Prime Minister said he should be judged on grocery prices. And it's clear that his taxes, like the packaging tax, are driving prices up. And it's hidden from you, Mr. Speaker. These taxes are so sneaky that they're built right into the prices you see. They don't even show up on your receipt. But what we've now learned, Mr. Speaker, is that the packaging tax will cost Canadians $1.3 billion by 2032. Can the Prime Minister put an end to these hidden taxes on food so that Quebecers and Canadians can afford to eat properly?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The opposition is talking about imaginary taxes. What we're doing on this side of the House is we are delivering for Canadian families. We've delivered a national school food program for kids across Canada, and our government will continue to be there to help families and children. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les-Etchemins-Lévis. You know, we're not living in the same world, Mr. Speaker. There will be over 4 million visits to food banks this year. That's a 128% increase under the Liberals. Here in Quebec, the organization Les Frigos Pleins has provided more than 1,600 emergency food deliveries in just 4 months. That's almost half the total for all of last year. The industrial carbon tax, the food packaging tax, clean fuel regulations. These are all measures that increase the cost of transporting, producing, and marketing food, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister said he should be judged on grocery prices. Does he realize, Mr. Speaker, that the judgment is in and it's not in his favour? The Honourable Secretary of State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Canadian Federation of Teachers has said that it's fantastic news concerning our school food program. That program is now permanent, and they thank the government for making it a priority. We are there for families, for children, to help with the cost of living. This program is putting over $800 in parents' pockets by helping them with food. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc Québécois has made 6 demands for the upcoming budget, which can be summarised as follows. Quebec must be given the means to take care of Quebecers. There has to be an increase in health transfers without conditions. Given the cost of living, we need an increase in old age pensions for people aged 65 to 74. We also need to reimburse Quebecers for the $814 million that the federal government stole from us to give Canadians election bribes in the form of fake carbon rebates. Those are our conditions. Will the government respond to the needs of Quebecers? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, you'll allow us to be a little bit perplexed on this side of the House. First of all, the leader of the Bloc Québécois said that it was unimaginable that they could support the budget. And now the Bloc has come up with a series of non-negotiable demands. So maybe there's some openness on that side to support the budget. I think, Mr. Speaker, that the Bloc Québécois should read the budget and then make a decision. The Honourable Member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, this budget must also allow us to meet the great challenges of our time, and that includes housing, which requires a permanent transfer to Quebec without conditions for the construction of social and community housing. There's also access to home ownership, which requires loans for first-time home buyers to cover the down payment. There's also infrastructure, which requires a new unconditional transfer to Quebec. These budget requests are unavoidable because the challenges are unavoidable, Mr. Speaker. Can we count on the government on November 4th? The Honourable Government House Leader. Well, Mr. Speaker, as a member for Gatineau, I can assure you that Quebecers are already counting on the support of this government when it comes to housing. We have very strong agreements with all of Quebec. We have put in place a new program which allows young people to ensure that they have the funds they need to buy a new home. We've acted across the line. We didn't need the Bloc Québécois to ask for that because we have 42 strong MPs from Quebec, and we know what Quebecers want and need in the budget, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Northumberland Clark.
Every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of hard-working Canadians. His finance minister was industry minister for the same Trudeau government that doubled the debt and promised that it would lead to more investment. The result? The worst per capita GDP growth in the G7 and more than a 10% drop in investment. Now the Prime Minister is set to double the Trudeau-era deficits. Will the Prime Minister keep his promise and keep the deficit under $42 billion?
Well done.
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know where the members opposite have been, but over the last week we've announced a series of affordability measures, automatic tax filing, school food program. We've got taxes for 22 million Canadians. We've got the GST for first-time homebuyers. Interest rates are down. Mr. Speaker, we were elected on this side to build the strongest economy, most resilient economy in the G7, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you.
The honourable member for Northumberland, Clark.
Mr. Speaker, if more government spending was the solution, then Canada would have the most prosperous economy in the G7. The result, we have the slowest in the G7. The Liberals can call it all they want. They can call it the government spending, government investment, the fluffy kitten fund. The result is the same. It comes out of the pockets of hard-working Canadians. Once again, will the Prime Minister keep his promise and keep the deficit under $42 billion?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on November 4th, we are going to table the most transformational budget in our country's history. We're going to spend less. We're going to invest more in nation-building projects, in infrastructure, in homes. Mr. Speaker, we are elected on this side to strengthen our economy. We've got a leader who is serious about the economy versus a leader who's never worked in the economy. Mr. Speaker, we were elected to deliver for Canadians. That's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you.
The honourable member for Cloverdale Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians were told that borrowing billions would make their lives better. But 10 years later, the only thing growing faster than the debt is the cost of living. This year alone, they have to refinance $473 billion in debt, and that will only get harder if this government keeps spending like the bill will never come due. You can't spend your way out of inflation. So will the Prime Minister keep his word and hold the deficit under $42 billion in the next budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
The Conservatives keep talking about cuts that they want to make to programs that Canadians rely on. They keep expecting us to make decisions that would take food out of children's mouths, Mr. Speaker, that would ensure that seniors have no old age security. We know that on their record that they vote against increases to seniors' benefits. We know that they have a record of pushing the retirement age higher and cutting benefits and leaving seniors behind. This is what they want us to do on this side of the House. We won't do that, Mr. Speaker. We will stand up for Canadians.
The honourable member for Cloverdale Langley City.
When a family can't balance its books, they lose the trust of the bank. When a government can't, it loses the trust of investors. And that's dangerous when we have to refinance $473 billion this year alone. If Canada looks reckless, borrowing will only get more expensive and every Canadian will pay the price. Canada needs a budget that shows fiscal discipline, but our current finance minister is the same guy who helped Trudeau double our debt as the industry minister. Will this Prime Minister show some fiscal discipline and commit to not exceed his $42 billion promise in the upcoming budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
We are investing in Canadians. We're investing in a future that ensures that Canada is the top of the G7 countries fiscally, whereas the Conservatives want us to achieve economic goals that will ensure that children don't have food in their bellies when they're at school. They want us to achieve the economic goals that they're looking for on the backs of Canadians. These are real programs, Mr. Speaker, not like the imaginary taxes that they keep referring to. These are things that Canadians really rely on and will ensure that all of us have what we need to position ourselves for the future.
Honourable member for Yellowhead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been a CPA for 26 years, and I've worked with Canadians as they navigate their personal taxes and finances under fiscal mismanagement of this Liberal government. Budgets do not balance themselves, as the Prime Minister knows well with his background. So there is no excuse to continue the fiscal disaster he inherited from his predecessor. My question is simple. Will the Prime Minister keep his promise and ensure the deficits will not exceed the outrageous $42 billion deficit of Justin Trudeau?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance. Excuse me.
That this government...
I didn't hear the mic didn't seem to be on. Could the member start from the top?
Bring it out the big guns. Canadians know that this government was elected with a strong mandate to build the strongest economy in the G7. And I know that we're on the right track. You know how I know? Because the experts say so. I know the opposition members may not agree, but who said Canada is fiscally sustainable? Former Parliamentary Budget Officer Kevin Page. Who said Canada is attracting the attention of global investors around the world? The CEO of our largest pension plan. Who said diversifying trade and investing in infrastructure will boost productivity? The Bank of Canada Governor, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Oakville West.
Mr. Speaker, Bill C-12, Strengthening Canada's Immigration System and Borders Act, which is before the House today, reflect our government's commitment to protecting Canadians. By expanding border security resources, fighting transnational organized crime, stopping the flow of illegal fentanyl, and cracking down on illicit financing at the border, while supporting our frontline officers and reinforcing the integrity of our immigration system. Could the Minister of Public Safety tell Canadians how this critical legislation enhances our ability to protect them and keep our communities safe? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the member for Oakville West for the very important question. I also want to thank her for the hard work that she does with Halton Regional Police. I had the opportunity to visit her last week, Mr. Speaker. From January 1st to September 19th, CPSA seized close to 2,600 grams of fentanyl, 770,000 grams of other opioids, 662 firearms, and over 11,000 prohibited weapons, Mr. Speaker. Bill C-12 will enhance law enforcement's ability to do their work, as will the additional 1,000 CBSA and RCMP officers we'll be hiring to keep Canadians.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
The Liberals signed a $15 billion deal to subsidize Stellantis to produce electric vehicle batteries in Canada, promising it would secure Canadian jobs. But now planned production for Brampton is relocating to the U.S. and 3,000 jobs are at risk here in Canada. At the same time, Stellantis has announced $13 billion of investment in the U.S. that will create tens of thousands of American jobs. So under Liberals, taxpayers are subsidizing a company that's moving billions of investment and jobs out of Canada. How could the Liberals make one of the biggest corporate subsidies in Canadian history without a Canada-wide jobs guarantee?
Honourable Minister of Industry.
Decision by Stellantis to move its production from the Brampton plant is completely unacceptable, and that is why this morning we were with the Conservative government of Ontario, with Unifor, with Stellantis, to make sure that we would be one strong Team Canada, because we need to make sure that the 3,000 jobs in Brampton are back. So I hope that I can work with my colleague, with all the MPs in this place, because we need to be Canada strong on this. Thank you.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
The fact is, Canadians are paying $15 billion for EV battery production. It's a 100% subsidy for those batteries, Mr. Speaker, but there's no public evidence the Liberals have secured job guarantees for the broader Stellantis footprint here in Canada. There are thousands of auto sector jobs on the line here, Mr. Speaker. Canadians deserve to know, in exchange for $15 billion of their tax dollars, did the Liberals secure a guarantee to protect every single Stellantis job in Canada? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, I know my colleague is very interested in this issue, which is normal, and of course this is my #1 priority right now, but she already knows the answer. The documents will be presented and produced before the committee, and of course you'll have access to the information. My goal is to make sure that we work together, because we need to fight as one Canada strong on this issue.
The honourable member for Kildonan St. Paul.
I'm very interested to know what the Minister of Industry knows about these contracts. Perhaps she can answer this simple question. How many Canada-wide jobs did the Liberals guarantee for $15 billion that they gave Stellantis? How many jobs? Can she tell us?
Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, let me be extremely clear. The auto sector in Canada is victim of unjustifiable and unjustified 25% tariff by the American administration, period. Meanwhile, the auto workers are trying every day to make sure that they develop the best product on the face of the earth. And that's what we'll continue to help them to do while we're facing
trade tensions with the American government. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, we will work with Doug Ford's administration, with Unifor as one Canadian team, because we need to do it for the sake of our country and the sake of our work.
The honourable member for Windsor-Tecumseh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After Stellantis was handed $15 billion for an EV battery plant in Windsor, they have now sent 3,000 jobs from Brampton to the United States. In my community, workers are now worried about their own jobs. How are they going to pay their mortgages? How are they going to feed their family? Canadians deserve transparency about these multi-billion-dollar contracts they paid so much for. Can the Liberals even confirm that their contract included a Canada-wide jobs guarantee for workers? Or will they continue to cover up for their incompetence?
The Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, the decision by Stellantis is not only completely unacceptable, but we'll make sure to hold them to account. And that's why we'll make sure that we use all the full force of the law should the company doesn't bring the production back to Brampton. Meanwhile, the documents will be produced before committee. My colleagues will have access to it. And we'll make sure also, obviously, that all forms of support for Stellantis is being checked into, because obviously we need workers to be back in Brampton.
Honourable member for Ottawa.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister failed to negotiate a win with President Trump, and Canadian auto jobs are on the line. Stellantis was handed $15 billion, and they've now announced they're moving 3,000 jobs to the United States. The current finance minister negotiated these deals and bragged about it. And now these auto jobs have left Canada for the U.S. and he refuses to be transparent. Liberals are hiding from the Canadian auto workers they sold out.
Failure.
Simple. Is there a Canada-wide jobs guarantee, yes or no?
Job failure.
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade.
Mr. Speaker, just because our colleague asserts with great indignation a series of conspiracy theories does not make them true. Mr. Speaker, what is true is our government is standing up for Canadian workers and Canadian businesses. The Prime Minister met with President Trump in Washington 2 weeks ago. We have engaged in a series of conversations and negotiations precisely to get a deal that's in the interest of all Canadian workers, including auto workers and other sectors of the economy in every region of the country. Mr. Speaker, that's the work that we're doing every day.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
And the result of that meeting of the Prime Minister and President Trump was the export of 3,000 auto workers' jobs from Canada into Trump's America. Talk about failure. Meanwhile, this finance minister signed a $15 billion deal for jobs with Stellantis in Canada. It was supposed to include money to retool those plants. So what we keep asking, it's simple. If there's actually a job guarantee in this contract, and if there isn't, it's absolute negligence, why don't they just tell us how many jobs will this contract guarantee for Canadian auto workers?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our colleague knows very well, as my colleague, the Minister of Industry, has indicated, all of that information, of course, appropriately will be put before the parliamentary committee. Mr. Speaker, just because our colleagues on the other side assert some falsehood with great indignation doesn't mean that it's accurate. What is accurate, Mr. Speaker, is our government is standing up with the province of Ontario, the government of Premier Ford, to defend these workers, to defend all sectors of our economy. That's the work we do in Canada. That's the work we're doing in Washington. And, Mr. Speaker, we'll continue to do that work.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
That is unbelievably cold comfort for the 3,000 auto workers and their families whose jobs have vanished to Donald Trump's America after the Prime Minister's meeting with Donald Trump. They have to think, how am I paying my mortgage? How am I going to put food on the table? And these are the kinds of answers these Liberals give. It's a very simple question. $15 billion went to Stellantis. And in that $15 billion, if you had a clue how to negotiate, you would have included a guarantee of Canadian jobs. We don't need to wait until these contracts are released. This member should know the answer. Is there a job guarantee for Canadian auto workers? Yes or no?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we understand that our Conservative colleagues on the other side of the aisle don't like to work with Premier Ford and his government. On this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we will work with all premiers, every political stripe, groups representing workers and businesses, precisely to defend those businesses from the unjustified tariffs imposed from the American administration. We'll do that work in Canada, Mr. Speaker, and good news, we're also doing that work in Washington, D.C.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. 10 years ago, this Liberal government was elected on a commitment, one specific one. It would run very small deficits and then balance the book during its first term, a promise that generated investment here in Canada. 10 years later, Mr. Speaker, what about this promise? Liberal debt has doubled, and Canada has the lowest growth in the G7 per capita. Will this Prime Minister at least keep his promise so that the next deficit will not exceed $42 billion? The Honourable Government House Leader. Obviously, the member across the way will have to wait for the budget to see the figures and the investment that will stem from this. But what we have said during our election campaign, and it remains our commitment, is that we will spend less to invest more. We'll build Canada strong and focus on major projects, on job creation in all regions of this country. And the member across the way is invited to read this document properly that we'll be presenting on November 4th. The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. I'll translate what he just said. He talks about generational investment that will cost future generations and for 10 years, they've been promising their deficits will encourage investment in Canada, but the finance minister has done nothing but run up deficits with his spending policies. Since this Prime Minister has been elected, we're talking about tens of millions in investment that has fled Canada. Will this Prime Minister stop this crazy spending spree and at least keep his promise of keeping the deficit under $42 billion? The Honourable Government House Leader. What is striking, Mr. Speaker, is that this member has risen and talked about inflationary spending, but he never identifies what exactly is the inflationary spending. Is it the Breakfast Club? Is it the enhancements made for seniors to their benefits? Is it daycare? What is the inflationary spending that he speaks about?
Honourable member for Humber River Black Creek.
Mr. Speaker, I was thrilled to hear the Government of Canada's announcement on the Build Canada Homes initiative. This transformative program is a bold and critical step towards making housing more affordable for Canadians by accelerating the development of affordable homes all across the country. I had the honour of attending one of the many announcements in Toronto and saw firsthand the excitement and hope that this program is bringing to all of our communities. Could the Minister please give the House an update on the great work that's being done under this housing initiative? Excellent question.
Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my honourable colleague for the question, and we know Canadians urgently need more affordable housing, and Build Canada Homes is set to deliver that. We just announced last week the first Build Canada Homes project, Arbro Downsview, which is 550 new homes. Wow. This project is a perfect example of how we're making real progress using innovative construction materials, prioritizing Canadian materials to build faster and smarter, ensuring Canadians have access to affordable housing. And that's just the beginning, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Haldimand Norfolk.
While Canadians are tightening their belts to make ends meet, this government keeps running up record deficits. This Prime Minister's reckless spending and record-breaking deficits delivered the worst per capita growth in the G7, and investments in workers are down by 10%. Now this Prime Minister is set to double the deficits, even beyond what Trudeau planned. Will this Prime Minister ensure Canadians that this deficit will not go over $42 billion in the next budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, I know the party opposite may not like it, but let's look at some facts. Strongest credit rating in the world. AAA credit rating from S&P and Moody's. Lowest deficit in the G7. Lowest debt level in the G7. Lowest net debt to GDP in the G7. Biggest potential in the G7. Mr. Speaker, the leader opposite said he was going to bring it home. He didn't bring home the election. He didn't bring home his riding, and half his party want to send him home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Haldimand, Norfolk.
Mr. Speaker, this kind of reckless spending is just breaking the backs of our children and grandchildren. For 10 years, this Liberal government promised that billions in deficit spending would lead to more growth and investments. Now the results are in. Canada has the worst per capita growth in all the G7, and billions in investments are fleeing this country every single month that this Prime Minister remains in office. So, when will this Prime Minister tell Canadians just how much more he plans to impoverish future generations?
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservative leader continues on auditioning to be opposition leader, we are focused on building the strongest economy in the G7. Canadians on April 28th had a clear choice between two leadership styles, one with world economic experience and business experience, the others never worked a day outside of this House. Canadians made a choice. They went with our side to build the strongest, most resilient economy in the G7, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, for 10 years, the Liberals have been promising that their deficits would drive investment. The result? The lowest growth in the G7, a drop of more than 10% in investment, and a declining economy. Every dollar spent by the PM comes directly out of Canadians' pockets. Mr. Speaker, the people of Beauce deserve better. And after doubling the debt, the Liberals are now preparing to double the deficit. Mr. Speaker, on November 4th, will the Prime Minister keep his promise to hold the deficit under $42 billion? Yes or no? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition had 45 minutes to think about whether he wants to apologize to the wonderful men and women who work to defend Canadians every day and that work at the RCMP. He attacked the integrity of our national police in a way that is totally inexcusable. Why does the Leader of the Opposition not take a moment? He says he supports the police. Why doesn't he not take a moment to apologize to the men and women who serve Canada through the RCMP rather than attacking their integrity?
The Honourable Member for New Westminster, Burnaby, Maillardville.
Mr. Speaker, every community has been affected by the crisis of toxic drugs and overdoses, and those in British Columbia are no exception. Earlier today, this government announced support for 40 projects in Western Canada that would give communities more tools to respond to critical emergencies and provide care for people struggling with addiction. Can the Minister of Health explain to the House how this government is working with communities to fight the drug crisis? The Honourable Minister of Health. Mr. Speaker, no community can tackle the drug crisis alone. We have a cross-government approach, and we are participating in solutions. The projects we are supporting today will save lives. One of these projects is the Dr. Peter Centre in Vancouver, which has a proven track record of helping people struggling with addiction. The center will offer services in this area, and fighting the drug crisis shouldn't be based on ideology, but on various action that is evidence-based and not ideology.
Mr. The Ring of Fire project in Northern Ontario would be a game changer for our region at a time we desperately need it. Yet the Prime Minister continues to delay by refusing to move forward with the project. That would create thousands of jobs, that has billions of dollars in investment. The project did not make the cut on the Liberals' project list, and the road won't even start until 2028. When will the Liberal get shovels in the ground and finally get the Ring of Fire project approved and underway?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised the member didn't ask about cap paper because, in fact, Ontario and Canada have worked together to give cap paper the breathing room, bring back its employees, and keep those employees hired while the mill looks for new business opportunities. In his riding, but all across Northern Ontario. Mr. Speaker, we're going to be there for industries that are hard hit, including pulp and paper, including mining. And Mr. Speaker, this is the great honour that we have to work on behalf of constituents.
The Honourable Member for Courtenay Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, in August, the Prime Minister promised $1.2 billion to support the forest sector in response to Trump's tariffs and softwood lumber duties, which we're still waiting for, Mr. Speaker. And just $50 million of that is earmarked for workers. That's not a plan. That's an insult. Almost 50,000 direct jobs in British Columbia alone are on the line. Will this Prime Minister step up with a serious plan to protect forestry workers across Canada in their hour of need?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we've been clear the U.S. tariffs on Canadian softwood lumber are absolutely unjustified, and we're working every day to solve this problem. We've committed $1.2 billion to the sector, and just last week we put the $700 million liquidity facility in place to help this sector. We will build Canada strong.
It being 3:06, the House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the motion of Ms. Lanceman relating to the business of supply. Call in the members.
Okay, that is question period. We don't need to sit here and watch this vote. We've got about 23 minutes before before committee. I was just looking at what the vote's for. So the vote's for a opposition motion in regards to cost of deficits. I'm just reading it right now. Yeah, they just basically they want the deficit down. And I guess the motion is to do that. I'm just trying to read it right now briefly, but yeah, we are going to switch over to committee. There's the link in chat. I put it in a few times, but if you haven't seen it, there it is. Yeah, it's going to be CBC. It's the new CEO after the last CEO just stepped down, which was Catherine Tate. If you guys remember her, she was pretty brutal in committee. Anytime CBC shows up to Parliament, they're always just saying that they need more money, but then at the same time they say that, viewership is down, trust in the network's down, and things like that. So it's a pretty good little roast session. But if you can't join us for that, we will be live for question period again tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to cover some committees tomorrow as well. I haven't double checked to see which ones we're going to dive into, but there are quite a few. So I believe there's public accounts in the morning, and then there's like PROC and OGO as well. So I just have to see which one we're going to watch. And then in the afternoon, there's a few good committees as well. So there'll definitely be stuff for us to tune into. Anyway, let's see what they're going on about here
The
for a
Liberals
minute.
promised that deficit spending would fuel investment, yet investment per worker fell by 10.8%. Dispense? No, obviously not. Okay. 2, Liberal deficits fueled inflation and drove up interest rates, while Canada had the worst economic growth per capita in the G7. 3, the current Liberal Prime Minister is following the same plan and is already yielding the same results. With 86,000 net job losses, the second highest unemployment rate in the G7, food inflation doubled the Bank of Canada's target, and $53.9 billion in net investment leaving the country. 4, every dollar that leaves the country means lower wages and lost jobs for workers. 5, every dollar the government spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians. The House call on the Liberal government to stop plagiarizing Justin Trudeau's failed policies and recognize that deficits drive investment and jobs down and the cost of living up. The 10-minute period for members voting electronically has started, and the House will now proceed to the vote for members participating in person.
Mr. Doherty. Mr. Doherty. Mr. Schmale. Mr. Schmale.
So if I understood that correctly, they just want the deficit down. That's the whole point of the motion.
Monsieur Deltel. Monsieur Poilievre. Monsieur Poilievre. Miss Landsman. Miss Landsman. Mr. Halland. Mr. Halland. Miss Dancho. Miss Dancho. Mr. Chong. Mr. Chong. Mrs. Kuzi. Mrs. Kuzi. Mrs. Stubbs. Mrs. Stubbs. Mr. Barlow. Mr. Barlow. Mr. Seaback. Mr. Seaback. Mr. Albus. Mr. Albus. Mr. Caputo. Mr. Caputo. Mr. Schmall. Mr. Small. Mr. Mazer. Mr. Mazer. Mr. Jennis. Mr. Jennis. Monsieur Brassard. Monsieur Brassard. Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore. Monsieur Bertol. Monsieur Bertol. Mr. Workington. Mr. Workington. Mrs. Cramp-Nyman. Mrs. Cramp-Nyman. Mr. Canna. Mr. Canna. Mrs. Roberts. Mrs. Roberts. Mr. Morin. Mr. Morin. Madame Vien. Madame Vien. Monsieur Godin. Monsieur Godin. Monsieur Martel. Monsieur Martel. Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper. Mr. Van Popta. Mr. Van Popta. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly. Monsieur Généreux. Monsieur Généreux. Monsieur Gourde. Monsieur Gould. Mr. Viss. Mr. Viss. Mr. Steinley. Mr. Steinley. Mr. Zimmer. Mr. Zimmer. Mr. Lobb. Mr. Lobb. Mr. Baldinelli. Mr. Baldinelli. Mr. Davidson. Mr. Davidson. Mr. Malillo. Mr. Malillo. Mr. Calkins. Mr. Calkins. Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Waugh. Mr. Waugh. Mrs. Goodridge. Mrs. Goodridge. Mrs. Falk, Battleford, Lloydminster, Meadow Lake. Mrs. Falk, Battleford, Lloydminster, Meadow Lake. Miss Gladue. Miss Gladue. Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Majumdar. Mr. Au. Mr. Ho. Mr. Shipley. Mr. Shipley. Mr. Bragdon. Mr. Bragdon. Mr. Redekop. Mr. Redekop. Monsieur Mallet, Kapuskasing, Timmins, Mushkegowuk. Monsieur Mallet, Kapuskasing, Timmins, Mushkegowuk. Monsieur Lefebvre. Monsieur Lefebvre. Mr. Arnold. Mr. Arnold. Mrs. Gallant. Mrs. Gallant. Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed. Mr. Hoback. Mr. Hoback. Mr. Allison. Mr. Allison. Mr. Epp. Mr. Epp. Mr. Williamson. Mr. Williamson. Mr. Falk Provencher. Mr. Falk Provencher. Mr. Diot. Mr. Diot. Mr. Macaulay. Mr. Macaulay. Mr. Menegakis. Mr. Menegakis. Mrs. Jansen. Mrs. Jansen. Mr. Albutev. Mr. Albutev. Mr. Motts. Mr. Motts. Mr. Dalton. Mr. Dalton. Mr. Dowdle. Mr. Dowdle. Mr. Cram. Mr. Cram. Mr. Lewis Essex. Mr. Lewis Essex. Mr. Patzer. Mr. Patzer. Mr. Giovanni. Mr. Giovanni. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Mrs. Anstey. Mrs. Anstey. Mr. Owl. Mr. Owl. Mr. Babber. Mr. Babber. Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey. Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt. Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt. Mr. Bexty. Mr. Bexty. Mr. Bonk. Mr. Bonk. Mrs. Borelli. Mrs. Borelli. Miss Cobina. Miss Cobina. Mrs. Cody. Mrs. Cody. Mr. Davies, Niagara South. Mr. Davies, Niagara South. Mr. Dawson. Mr. Dawson. Mrs. DeReeder. Mrs. DeReeder. Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview. Mr. Gill, Calgary Skyview. Mr. Gill, Brampton West. Mr. Gill, Brampton West. Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight. Mr. Gill, Calgary McKnight. Mr. Gill, Windsor West. Mr. Gill, Windsor West. Mr. Kimmich. Mr. Kimmich. Monsieur Groslo. Monsieur Groslo. Mr. Googlemin. Monsieur Googlemin. Mr. Gunn. Mr. Gunn. Monsieur Hardy. Monsieur Hardy. Mr. Holman. Mr. Holman. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson. Mr. Kibble. Mr. Kibble. Mrs. Conant. Mrs. Conant. Miss Cronus. Miss Cronus. Mr. Curick. Mr. Curick. Mr. Lawton. Mr. Lawton. Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma. Mr. Mahal. Mr. Mahal. Mr. Mantle.
Mr. Mantle.
Mr. McKenzie.
Mr. McKenzie.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson.
Madame Normandin.
Madame Normandin.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Monsieur Sainte-Marie.
Monsieur Sainte-Marie.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Godreau.
Madame Godreau.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Blanchette-Jonca.
Monsieur Blanchette-Jonca.
Monsieur Lemire.
Monsieur Lemire.
Que tous ceux qui s'opposent à la...
All those opposed to the motion will please rise.
Gatineau.
Mr. Ali.
Mr. Ali.
Madame Diab.
Madame Diab.
Mr. McDonald-Malpeck.
Mr. McDonald-Malpeck.
Monsieur Lightbound.
Monsieur Lightbound.
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
Ms. DeBruson.
Mr. Bruson.
Ms. Thompson.
Miss Thompson.
Mr. Ananda Sangari.
Mr. Ananda Sangari.
Madame Michel.
Madame Michel.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Monsieur Guilbeault.
Ms. Oljevski.
Ms. Oljevski.
Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon.
Monsieur Duclos.
Monsieur Duclos.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Miss Chager.
Miss Chager.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Fragiscados.
Mr. Fragiscados.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Mr. Vancouverden.
Miss Sahota.
Miss Sahota.
Mr. Belanger, Desnati, Mississippi, Churchill River.
Mr. Belanger, Desnati, Mississippi, Churchill River.
Miss Chartrand.
Miss Chartrand.
Mr. Garrettson.
Mr. Garrettson.
Miss Alty.
Miss Alty.
Miss McLean, Esquimalt, Saanich, Suk.
Miss McLean, Esquimalt, Saanich, Suk.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Long.
Madame Chanette.
Madame Chanette.
Miss Latanzio.
Miss Latanzio.
Mr. Nakvi.
Mr. Nakvi.
Mr. Housefather.
Mr. Housefather.
Madame Menard.
Madame Menard.
Miss Jazik.
Miss Jazik.
Mr. Beach.
Mr. Beach.
Miss Scrove.
Miss
Sorry.
Scrove.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Isassi.
Mr. Sassy.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant.
Monsieur Litao.
Monsieur Litao.
Mr. Bardizzi.
Mr. Bardizzi.
Miss Kayabaga.
Madame Kayabaga.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Madame Brière.
Madame Brière.
Mr. Calloway.
Mr. Calloway.
Monsieur Gay.
Monsieur Gay.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Madame Koutrakis.
Madame Koutrakis.
Miss Chi.
Miss Chi.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Beach. Correction, Mr. Biddle.
Mr. Biddle.
Monsieur Cormier.
Monsieur Cormier.
Miss Dillon.
Miss Dillon.
Miss Zerowitz.
Miss Zerowitz.
Monsieur El Khoury.
Monsieur El Khoury.
Monsieur Fergus.
Mr. Fergus.
Mr. Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca.
Monsieur Iacono.
Monsieur Iacono.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Monsieur Lauzon.
Mr. Maloney.
Mr. Maloney.
Miss Suds.
Miss Suds.
Madame Desrochers.
Madame Desrochers.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Hanley.
Mr. Hanley.
Madame Bendayan.
Madame Bendayan.
Madame Fortier.
Madame Fortier.
Mr. Oliphant.
Mr. Oliphant.
Mr. Klassen.
Mr. Klassen.
Madame Levesque.
Madame Levesque.
Mr. Turnbull.
Mr. Turnbull.
Miss Church.
Miss Church.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mrs. Zaid.
Mrs. Zaid.
Miss Yip.
Miss Yip.
Madame Lalonde.
Madame Lalonde.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Pulowski.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
Mr. Baines.
Mr. Baines.
Miss Hefner.
Miss Hefner.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Sousa.
Miss Akan.
Miss Akan.
Mr. Al Saoud.
Mr. Al Saoud.
Madame Auguste.
Madame Auguste.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Connors.
Mr. Connors.
Madame Dandurand.
Madame Dandurand.
Mr. Danko.
Mr. Danko.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl.
Miss Fancy.
Miss Fancy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Hurdle.
Miss Hurdle.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Monsieur Lavoie.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. Mallet Bay of Quinty.
Mr. Mallet Bay of Quinty.
Miss Miedema.
Miss Miedema.
Madame Mingarelli.
Madame Mingarelli.
Miss Naughton.
Miss Naughton.
Miss Wien.
Miss Wien.
Monsieur Tumba.
Mr. Tumba.
Miss O'Rourke.
Miss O'Rourke.
Miss Royer.
Miss Royer.
Mr. Saini.
Mr. Saini.
Monsieur Sari.
Monsieur Sari.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Miss Sodi.
Miss Sodi.
Monsieur Saint-Pierre.
Mr. Saint-Pierre.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
Miss McPherson.
Miss McPherson.
Mr. Johns.
Mr. Johns.
Miss May.
Miss May.
La Chambre
The House. The House will now wait for the electronic voting period to end before resuming its proceedings.
Okay, so just I saw a few people in the chat asking, what is this for? It's an opposition motion to reduce the deficit and the implications of having a larger deficit like inflation and things like that. So it's just basically a motion to call the government to stop overspending, which obviously the government is going to vote against. They're going to say, no, we're the ones in power and we get to decide what the budget is and when we release the budget. Apparently we don't even do that on time anymore. But like I said, in chat, we are switching to committee. So starts in about 10 minutes, right after this voting period. You'll see the House kind of clear out. A lot of them are going to committees. We're going to cover one with CBC News. They just had a new CEO appointed after the last one was a gong show. Viewership is down, trust in the state broadcaster is down, and they're asking for more funding. So it should be pretty interesting to hear them try and explain why they think they deserve more than what they got last year. Mark Carney, nay. Didn't he just do a news conference? I think Carney just did a news conference while we were in question period, but I could be wrong. No, he didn't. Okay. And he still hasn't released his itinerary, so we don't know what he's doing today, or what he did yesterday, or what he did the day before. The last time the PMO released an itinerary for the Prime Minister was on Friday. Personally, I think we should know what the Prime Minister's doing like a week in advance. Like every Sunday, there should just be like a whole list of things for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what he's doing, where he's going, at what time. Trudeau got rid of that, and they don't update the website as often anymore because Trudeau used to have like flocks of hecklers, so he would only release the itinerary like the morning of.
The electronic voting period has ended. If members were not able to vote due to technical difficulties, they may now use the raise hand function, and the chair will recognize them. The table will now compile the results of the vote.
Yeas pour 163, 163. Nays contre 173, 173.
That's a close one.
I declare the motion defeated.
That's a very close one. That's just because of the NDP. NDP would have swayed that. But yeah, I'll put the link one more time in chat. That's the committee link. So we will be switching over to that. Starts in 8 minutes. They might be a little bit late because they have to walk from this chamber over to the West Block. But yeah, anyway, guys. I will see you in 8 minutes. Thanks for tuning in and watching. And again, if you don't want to join us for committee, just join us tomorrow. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the same time for question period. But yeah, I'll see you guys shortly. Thanks for watching, guys.